And there is, as I put in this thumbnail, there is boatloads of evidence against Bryan Kohberger. You know, it's hard for many to imagine because we'll use the word again, much of the evidence is circumstantial. But just recently, this has come out. MM, who was the DoorDash driver, may have been an eyeball witness in seeing Bryan Kohberger before the murders at 0400, 0359, 0400 hours. And if she, in fact, can identify him and say, that's the man I saw on the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, very powerful evidence. Couple that with the bushy eyebrow photo. Here we have it. That was in his cell phone from the morning of the murders. And don't forget, Dylan Mortensen said that the person she saw in the house, she described the physique and he was wearing a mask. But one of the things she said was that he had bushy eyebrows. You think this picture qualifies for having bushy eyebrows? And then some of the other little freaky pictures that were in his cell phone. And we all remember the balaclava. But, you know, utmost in the evidence in this case, of course. And when people talk about a smoking gun, if there is a perpetual smoking gun, we're talking about the single source DNA left on the button of the knife sheath. The button of a knife sheath that was for a K-bar knife. And then connect that to the Amazon order, where 8 months prior, Bryan Kohberger had ordered a K-bar knife, a sheath, and a sharpener from Amazon. So that connects the dots there. And then the knife sheath has touch DNA. And we all know how that was connected, right? That was connected to Bryan Kohberger's father. When the feds went through their garbage in Pennsylvania and recovered some bottles, were able to swab the bottles and get a match to the DNA on the knife sheath. Once they had that, they had probable cause against Bryan Kohberger, and they went there to arrest him. And what's he doing in Pennsylvania? He's up at 4 a.m, cleaning the car, putting the garbage from his house in his neighbor's cans. Circumstantial? You bet. Does that mean he did it? No, absolutely not. But is it powerful circumstantial evidence? Is it what I describe as there being a boatload of evidence against Bryan Kohberger? 100% there is a boatload of evidence against him. This is from Court TV. Let's listen to this.
Out of the neighborhood. Then at 3:38 a.m., the driver does a second drive-by. At 3:56 a.m., the car passes by the house for a third time, in and out of the neighborhood.
These were just girls that went to sleep that night, and he was stalking them. He was hunting them.
At 4 a.m., a DoorDash driver drops off food that...
You know, when you hear Steve Gonsalves say he was stalking them, he was hunting them, is there more information that Steve Gonsalves knows that we and the prosecution and all the people following this case don't know? Because let's not forget, there was a gag order. So much of this case has come out in dribs and drabs. But there's the father of Kaylee Gonsalves saying he was stalking them, he was hunting them. Very powerful.
That Xana Kernodle ordered. At 4:04 a.m., the suspect drives up the street toward the house again. Dylan told investigators it was around that time when something woke her up. It sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog upstairs. Xana's phone records show she is awake and on TikTok at 4:12 a.m. A surveillance camera picks up audio of a thud, voices, and a dog barking at 4:17 a.m. Dylan hears one of the girls say, "There's someone here." She also hears crying and a man say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Sometime between 4 o'clock and 4:20 a.m., she opens her door a few times. And at one point, sees a man with bushy eyebrows walking past her room and towards the back sliding door.
She described this person as being white, male, wearing all black, a few inches taller than her. She's 5'10", wearing a mask, skinny, athletic, toned build.
Dylan calls and texts her roommates, but she's only able to reach Bethany. At 4:20 a.m., the car is seen on surveillance video again, this time leaving at a high rate of speed. Between 4:22 and 4:26, Dylan and Bethany send a flurry of text messages to each other. No one is answering. I'm freaking out right now. Run down here. Dylan runs to Bethany's room, and on her way, she sees Xana lying on the floor of her bedroom. News Nation spoke with Kaylee's father about this.
I just imagine her booking her tail off, going down those steps as fast as she possibly could, seeing something at the side of her eyes, and just running all the way down the step.
At 4:32 a.m., Dylan sends a text to Kaylee. Please answer. For the next 7 hours, Dylan and Bethany got on their social media, slept, and kept trying to reach others in the house.